it's sort of how you approach the game and then how much effort you like put in.
So effort, yeah, and how you approach certain situations. So we're going to talk a little bit later about how you would, as an individual, you would approach certain situations, definitely. But I'll give you the definition that I've got. So specifically in terms of sport, mindset is defined as an athlete's belief. So belief is very important. So an athlete's belief about oneself and one's most basic qualities, such as talent, intelligence, and personality. So it sounds quite wordy, but basically it's your own view of yourself. How do you view yourself as a player? And everyone's view of themselves is going to be different. So when we're talking to you about mindset today, we might be talking about a certain situation, and I don't know, Sachin might respond in a way that this is how he would react, but that could be completely different to how, Nathan, Joe, Max would react, if you see what I'm saying. So I think, I'll tell you what, let me talk about one of the main things people get their mind, or how they get ready for a game. Have you ever heard of like pre-game rituals? They don't know, like kind of pre-game rituals, like how to get yourself psyched up for a match. Yeah.
It's what people do before a game.
What people do before a game, yeah. Is there, I'm just interested, is there anything that anyone does here before a game to get themselves up for it, to get themselves ready?
When I used to play, I used to mess around a lot. I know it sounds stupid, but I used to just be kind of relax my mind. So I know when I used to play, some people like to get in zones. I used to kind of banter people, just kind of be really light-hearted, just kind of relax for games. That was me personally, but
that's it. I know I've got a couple famous ones here, right? Jamie Vardy. I don't know what Jamie Vardy does before a game. Always.
Drink Red Bull.
Red Bull, yeah. It always has a Red Bull, and that's his kind of superstition pre-match game. He has to have that Red Bull, else he doesn't believe that he's going to perform as well. And Red Bull is a horrible, sugary energy drink full of caffeine. And the amount of kind of supplements that players get now with like these glucose juices, there's so many better alternatives, but he believes that a Red Bull is going to make him play better. So I just kind of want you to think in the next week or two, is there anything that you do that helps you prepare for a game? And if there's nothing that you do, what can you do? What kind of mindset that do you have to be in to play a game? Do you have to be yourself psyched up for it? I mean, I could imagine Leo listening to like drill music, yeah, Heady One, Tion Wayne. I bet he loves it. But then someone like, I don't know, someone like Joe might need to kind of all quiet, relaxed, get into his own head. Yeah. So just think about that in the next week. How do you get to your own space of mind? How do you get yourself prepared for a game? And if you just kind of turn up, train, how can you visualize, get yourself into that space?
So I think that's a valid point, guys. Sorry, just jump in. The reason I think that's a valid point is because when you don't do return, whenever it may be, you don't need to get yourselves in the right set. Like I've said to you before, we've been quite hard on you before, but it's going to get more, but in a good way, because you're now going to come back. And as you come back in, straight away, you're going straight into a title race run. Yeah, so the minute you come back, so where the coach is about making sure that you're focused and making sure that you are kind of getting yourselves in the right mindset for games is actually so important for the fact that you are going to come back and your first game, whenever they haven't even released the fixtures yet, but your first game, as soon as you come back, you can't afford to drop points. You're straight into the thick of a title race running, basically. So, sorry, man.
No, that's cool. It's cool. So I was gonna natter on a little bit more about mindset, but I think it's probably better if we talk. I know Vasco's got some situations prepared, because obviously none of you have done psychology at school. It's pointless me rattling on about it because you don't. You have to kind of learn the underpinning. So it's better to learn it from a practical perspective. Definitely. So Vasco's got some scenarios that we're going to run through just to kind of talk about how would you adapt mentally to these situations?
So obviously, like these scenarios I planned here, they obviously have all to do with, it's not just a link to our style of play or how the game is going. It's obviously got to do with how we take it on mentally. So it's obviously emotions, controlling our emotions, the type of mindset or the mindset that we're going to be on is going to be very important, or the mindset that we need to maybe adapt to depending on the situation is very, very important. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 scenarios there. I'm not sure if you guys have pen and paper with you, actually. Have you all got pen and paper?
I didn't ask. If you've got some pen and paper handy, or if you can
just
type on your phone. Has anyone got a phone or something they can
you
write
won't
on?
need too much, just anything to take some notes. Not too much. Yeah, just quickly get it.
Ashin, you can grab some from the printer behind you, man.
Gone outside for a walk.
So who's here? So Max, do you do anything pre-game? Get yourself in the right headspace.
Listen to music sometimes.
Listen to music.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what kind of headspace do you need to be in?
Kind of loud because I want to be focused. I want to be focused on what's going on before a game.
Definitely.
And do you feel nervous? Do you feel excited? Well, how do you feel before each match?
I mean, if we're playing a good team, a bit of both. I feel excited before every match, but if we're playing someone like Streatham, I don't really get nervous because I know we'll win.
Yeah.
Right.
I think I saw when I was doing my research for this earlier, I saw a good quote. Do you guys know who Chris Hoy is? He's like a very esteemed Olympian, basically. I think he's won the most medals for GB. I'll have to fact check that, but he said you never want to consider those nerves as being nervous. You want to consider those as being excited. He's never nervous. You want to use that kind of feeling of butterflies. If you start telling yourself you're nervous, you're likely to make mistakes. You're likely to slip up. So whenever you feel those nerves, tell yourself, I'm not nervous, I'm excited. And that's a way that you can flip that. You can flip that kind of mentality. But it's good to be nervous. It means that you're going to be sharp. It means that you're going to be focused. Have we got everyone back? Has everyone got something to write with?
Yeah, we'll just go ahead with it. It's nothing too complex, guys, don't worry. So obviously we've got our style of play, and if I were to identify our characteristics as a team, our style of play, I would say that we are pretty aggressive, or at least it's something that we definitely focus on. We try and be aggressive, try and get the ball. If we don't have it, we run after it. If we have it, we try and keep the ball. We do play short passing, but we also focus a lot on the pace of our wingers and the pace of our strikers. So there's obviously that we'd like to sort of, keep working on. But having said that, I think it's very important that, and this is honestly a key point, I think once we get back, in our sessions and our regular sessions, I think it's something that we're going to focus on a lot. It's these sort of key points, being able to identify the stages of each match or what each match requires us to do. So then when we're shouting from the bench, you are able to know what we want from you. So the 4 scenarios I've got for you, for these 4 scenarios, I just want you to, just take a note, just down what you think we should do for each. Yeah. Just if you've got 1 or 2 ideas, doesn't matter. At least an idea.
So if you were captain on that field, and we hit this stage in the game, what would you be shouting to the rest of the players?
That's it. So first scenario is the opponent plays deep. So they play very, very deep. again, it's something that we can identify straight away. We start playing, first couple of minutes, we can just straight away see that they play very, very deep. They don't put too much pressure on us. They, they just allow us to play. So what should we do then? I'll just give you a few seconds.
Everyone got something, an idea?
I'll move on to the second one, and then we'll just come back if they have to. The second scenario, another thing that we can identify straight away is the team does the complete opposite. They press very high up the pitch. So their pressure is very, very high.
And there's no kind of right or wrong for this. This is your own, like I said, with mindset, everyone is going to be different. Yeah.
Don't you have to like play around them?
If that's what you think, put it down, man. It's like if you're captain on that field and that's what you're shouting, then write it down.
That's it. So the second one was if they press us up the pitch, if they press very high, what should we do? What should we try focusing on? If we have to, obviously, focusing on anything. If we have to change anything. The third one would be they defend very narrow, so they're very compact. What should we do if the opponent are very, very compact, if they're very, very narrow?
So when you're,
This is,
so I was going to say, sorry, mate, we're in at the same time.
okay.
So when you're answering or when you're thinking, think like as a coach, even like, you know, let's go Michael on the side, for example, and they're thinking, oh my God, this team does this and that. How would you get around that? Yeah, think of it that way. Sometimes it just helps to broaden the mind a bit.
That's it. Obviously, these aren't, I chose these four for a reason. They're not just random. There are things that I think we should definitely focus on when we get back and that we are going to focus on, because obviously they happen quite a lot and we have to be able to adapt to them. The fourth one and last will be if we go 1 up. So if we go 1-0 up or 2-1, so I'm just going to repeat these 4 key points here that I think we should definitely be able to identify in our game. They are: the opponent plays very deep. The opponent presses very high. The opponent plays very, very narrow, so very compact. And there's more a stage of the game. The game is when we go 1-0 up or when we go 2-1, 3-2, whatever. When we score, how should we react right after? So guys, we're not going to ask each one of you for your ideas. Just go ahead, honestly, just go ahead and just tell us what you think. If you think that you've got a good idea, just go ahead and tell us. I could start. So we start with if they play deep, my key point, personally, what I'll do is we play short. What does everyone else think?
Sorry, did you say short?
Yeah, we play short. So we should play short passing, yeah? Because obviously, and I'm going to ask, why do you guys think I would pick to play short passing if they play deep?
I would try to play probing balls, just like trying to slip it between the defenders.
Right, okay.
That's just because of my personal style.
No, but that's good. That's identifying a skill that you have and learning or adapting to a scenario that suits you as a player. I think that's very important to identify as a team. Who do we have around us? Yeah, how can we play to each other's strengths? So definitely, I like that. Like
Michael said, yeah, this is not a right answer or wrong answer at all. Just try and think in each game that it happens so much, so many times. Like what kind of things do we shout like from the bench at you when they defend really deep? When we need to attack, what kind of things do we shout at you? We always say like things like, what does the defense could do, for example? How should the defense play there?
Where are the defense told to go? Probably about 100 times a game.
Like the halfway line.
Yeah, there you go.
So obviously, if they play very deep, we've got so much space. The defense has to sort of like match the midfield line, so they have to go up as well, because we're obviously going up the pitch, and if we've got that sort of space, the defense goes as well. So many times they're just shouting at you like Hamad, Tristan, Leo. Guys, just go further up the pitch. All good. You've got space. You know, you're fine. So that's one thing. Other thing is obviously playing short passing. If we can't explore, let's say George, he's got very, very pacey. But if you've got no space between the defenders and the goal, you can't explore that. You can't explore that pace, can you? So you have to come short. We have to play the short passing, like you said. We have to try and find like those spaces between defenders, try and explore that, try and create like those unbalances, call it that. What other thing I've got?
I think from supporting players as well, when you've got when you're going up against a compact defense, particularly from a winger's perspective, you can't sit out on the wing being idle. You have to make those kind of those runs deep into the box. That's going to pull their players out of position. And if as a winger, if you just pull, say, the left back or the one of the centre backs out, it's going to create space for our attackers or a midfielder to get in to play a pass. So it's looking about, it's not just how we're going to play, how can we change their style of play as well?
Yeah, that's it. Another thing that I had, and it's all things that right now, obviously we can't put them into practice. So it's kind of like, you know, we hear about them and we're like, yeah, okay. But we're going to put them all into practice, I promise you. We're going to put them all into practice. We're going to test them out in games. And it's better that you know, obviously listen now, just so then you can recognize these things and you can remember when we obviously bringing them up. Another thing that adds added to this, so for a team that plays very deep, is we need to be able to sort of switch play. So it happens a lot when the ball is on one side. We've got a lot of players. So obviously the defense is deep. We've got a lot of players on one side, and we can't sort of switch play and look for those spaces, play the 1-2s, find the space between defenders. So it's a lot harder when they play deep to sort of for us to find space and obviously create opportunities, create chances. So yeah, we're gonna practice this. Moving on to the second one, I said if they press up the pitch, if they press very high, what sort of things should we be focusing on?
Sashin. Can't get involved. If the team is pressing us, what are you shouting to the players around you?
If they're being really aggressive, try and be aggressive back to them. Like,
yeah, match that level of aggression.
Match that level.
It's good.
What about in terms of style of play? It's a difficult question.
So
So we took,
sorry,
Sashin,
when
we
you
took,
play around them, like try and like kind of play it fast, like quite fast.
Yeah.
Make sure.
Yeah.
I don't try and play it out from the back. Like, don't take loads of touches in the defensive area.
Yeah, exactly. If they're pressing our defense, do we want to be knocking it around the back? You know what I mean? Not really. Yeah.
Joe, go ahead.
Maybe like
drop back a bit more, because if they're going to be higher up, they're more likely to push and organize the defense so that they defend a bit more, and like so that they can't counter if they're higher up as well.
Right. So that's definitely an option. Yeah. So that's obviously if we've got our, let's say our fullbacks going up the pitch quite a lot. Obviously, if the attackers press our defenders, we have to make sure that the right back or the left back is going to, drop back and create that sort of option for the defenders. But again, just like Sachin saying, that's one thing that we should definitely focus on, is not play around, around defense. Just play simple, play fast, because if they're pressuring us, we can just explore the depth. So again, it's the opposite of them playing deep. If they're playing deep and we can't explore the speed, like George's pace or Sachin's pace, like if we can't explore that when they play deep, that's, if the opposite happens, that's what we need to focus on. Do you know what I mean? So if George's got space, we know that we can create a ball, we can create a pass, we can create he can create space for himself, and we can obviously focus on that. So looking for runs for the wingers and the strikers would be something that we definitely be able to focus on, and just play simple and fast around defense.
And I think bringing this back to like what we talked about mindset, to play against a team that is pressing us and is well regimented takes a lot. Can be quite mentally draining, because you don't want to mess up. You don't want to mess a pass, because you realise that, oh, if I misplace this pass, there's going to be someone on the end of it to intercept. So I think it's key, very key, when we're in that state of mind, just to be confident in our play. Yeah, we're not going to be overthinking pass. If you make a mistake, you make a mistake, we move on. Yeah, but we need to be confident, especially in that in order to counteract that style of play. Confidence is key.
Exactly. It's not about, when we say playing simple and playing fast, it's not about like getting rid of the ball. It's not about being scared of the attackers. It's about being assertive, being confident, and trust your decisions. Do you know what I mean? We play simple, boom, simple around the back. If it has to be around the back, it's around the back. If it's a long ball, as long as we're confident and we know that we're going to make the right decisions. Yeah. The other one I had was if the team is very compact, if the opponent is very compact, if they narrow, what kind of things can we do?
Benny?
If they're playing really narrow, you got to try put like balls into the box.
How do you get those balls into the box?
Through like the wingers, if they play more wide.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to hear.
That's the top answer. Wingers. That's your top answer. You guys are 11 aside now. This is your first season. Some of you might have played a year up, but this is your first season 11 aside. So the pitches are huge for you guys. Most of you haven't played 11 aside in a team, so you get that ball out wide.
That's it.
As well, if a team's playing narrow and compact, think of the amount of space you're going to have on those outside wings. If it's playing compact, there's no point trying to knock it through the middle every time, because they're just going to mop it up. The reason they're playing compact is to stop those through balls going through, but in stopping those through balls, they're allowing so much space on the wing. You'd be silly to carry on, trying to feed it through the middle.
Which is something we do quite a lot. And I would say that, the wingers obviously play a very, very important role there, because they're obviously the ones asking for the ball and making the runs. But the centre midfielders, I'm looking at you, Nathan, I'm looking at you, Joe. You guys are just as responsible, yeah? And we're going to be looking at you to pick up those passes, yeah? It's going to be your responsibility. How many times does it happen? Like the game is just in the midfield and everyone's just kicking it around and the wingers are just watching you. It's like, I wish the ball just got to me, like ball just like kicking about like around the midfield. So all it needs, we ask sometimes is just for one person to sort of like switch on and be like, wait, get it out of here, boom, onto the wing where space is. So that's what happens. If they're too narrow, we're not going to have space. And we look up, Sachin, boom, onto him, through ball onto him. And that's it. And that's how we can explore that width, because obviously they're going to be too compact to sort of like be able to defend against this.
And that's the thing as well. If as soon as you get out to the wings, it's going to stretch them. You're going to find that they're going to have to go up and mark, or attack the player who's on the ball, our winger. It's going to leave more space in the middle. So if we're against a team that is always compact, and we're repeatedly getting out to the wing, they're going to change their style of play, which is going to give us more options down the middle as well. So it's all about being varied in our approach. I think when you're looking at, playing, we are at the top of the table, we are beating most teams in the league. In order to stay there, we need to be able to react to the different styles of play around us and keep varied in our approach, so that teams aren't going to come up to us and go, oh, okay, I know exactly how this team's going to play. We figured, we might have lost last time, but now we figured them out. We need to be constantly kind of evolving and pushing forward.
100%.
I got no problem with you hating me in the next 3 months. Let me just tell you that. Yeah, we're going to push you guys hard right now. I've got no problem. And I've had it over the period, just from experience, where players get stressed, and when you put medals around your neck, it's worth it. I promise you. It's not all about winning. Don't get me wrong. It's not all about winning, but the culture that we have is to create, all jokes aside, we create winning mentalities. Yeah. So just understand that when we're doing it, it's for success of you. It's not for ego. We don't get money for winning league titles and stuff. It's all about our whole kind of ethos. So going off track, it's about creating memories. That's our whole thing. When we set up, that was it, create memories. And to do that, you need to be successful. And to do that, you need to work hard. So the fact that you lot are on this Zoom now, yeah, and I know you're thinking, oh, it could be on the Xbox, or, yeah, the fact that you're on it is you're trying to improve yourselves, yeah? Sorry, man.
No, it's good. It's good. And you might, we're not expecting you to remember all of this. Like, we understand there's a lot of information, I know you've had half term, but normally it's after a school week. So you've had a lot coming at you on Zoom. We know you're not going to remember all of this, but if you remember some of it when we pick it back up in training, it's going to be beneficial.
Definitely. It's the sort of thing that we're going to be talking about in training, and then you should be able to identify, recognize, or in game. Again, this is going to be, we're going to do this in sessions. We're going to obviously practice these just so you're ready in game to sort of react to them. But it's the sort of thing that in game we're going to expect you. If until now we've expected a lot from you, from now on we're going to expect even more, because again, just like Jamie has been insisting, we are the team to beat. All like Streathams, West Side, FC United, they all want to beat us mainly. So they'll go 200%, 300% to beat us. And really, I just don't want to, again, it's not about winning every match, but I just don't want to end the match and thinking like we could have just, done so much better. If I feel like we've done our best to sort of like understand our coaches and understand our teammates, I'm happy with that, because that's probably, it's probably likely that we're going to have good performance. It's likely that we're going to be, winning most of our matches. The last thing I was going on about was something that happens a lot, which is we go 1-0 up or we go 2-1 and we kind of like relax a bit. So I want you guys to tell me what we should do instead. How should we react when we go 1-0 up, for example?
I've not heard nothing from Nathan or Jacoby so far. So if any of you two want to jump in.
And then if you don't have it, then Joe's got his hand up. But you guys go first.
Nathan, what do you think? If we go 1 up, what are you screaming and shouting to everyone?
Trying to find the unmute button.
Yeah, it didn't show. Sorry, what's the question?
So imagine you're winning 1-0. What are you instructing your teammates to be doing?
Oh, just to think straight and don't switch off. Keep going.
Exactly.
Yeah. You've literally just scored 1-0, yeah, and you're running back. Well, you're jogging back for them to. restart the match, yeah, what's the sort of thing that you shouting at your teammates? Well, we often shout, your parents do the same, switch on, switch on. And that almost becomes a bit like, you know, usual to sort of like you to listen to this and be like, yeah, okay, I know, yeah, switch on, yeah, I'll stay with switch on. But it's actually one thing that we want you guys to actually think actively is how to react to this. Joe's got like his hand, yeah. If you wanna...
I was just gonna say maybe like when you're coming back from throwing the goal, like don't play it easy and don't relax just because you scored, because there's still like loads more that could happen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They often say a team's most vulnerable just after they've scored, because you naturally get that level of complacency. I think it's important, particularly at this level where you've seen it, where you can go 3 goals up, and before you know it, the other team are, you know, you're in a dogfight and they're trying to scratch one back, and you just don't know what's going to happen. So you can't switch off at any point, particularly after you've scored, because that's when the other team is going to be most hungry as well. You're going to be at your most relaxed, so they're going to be at their most heightened. So very key that we stay switched on.
Right, George, do you want to add something, mate?
Once you've just scored, theoretically everyone's tired because you've all just run up the pitch, played the ball around, you've all gone to the effort to get the ball into the back of the net. So you're then tired, where the opposition team, they're not as tired as you, so they'll probably try and press you.
Yeah, that's a very good point. That's actually a very good point, because obviously you can't always work on that in terms of fitness. You're the team that's been like running around to score the goal. Obviously, they've been defending. It's arguably less tiring, so they're going to try and react to that. I would say that, you know, generally any team, regardless of the level, they're always going to try and react to a goal. It's just like, you know, different stages of a match. Teams always try and start a game well. Teams go on half time, and second half they always try and show up in like those first 2 minutes are very, you know, very, very important. They're decisive. They always try to have like to show sort of like a good reaction to either a goal conceded or obviously the start of the match, start of the second half. What we need to make sure is that we counteract this. We sort of like react to this, to their reaction, and we just break it. We just can't allow them to sort of like get back in the game. One thing that me and Michael were thinking about actually to start doing in practice is actually simulate this sort of, if you guys, for example, if you're playing a 5v5 or something, if we're doing a match in training, we're just going to do this quite a bit, which is like focusing how we're going to react to scoring. So obviously you have to react when you concede, but you also have to react to when you score. So it's something that I don't know, we might introduce in our sessions. And it could be something like a keyword, anything. We're going to be thinking about it. It could be like a keyword that you guys are expecting from us, and we go shout to remember you. Rather than switch on, we might say something else. We might say anything, you know.
Thinking of the word juggernaut.
Yeah,
You know what juggernaut is, don't you? Yeah. The side of the pitch has gone one down, screaming and shouting juggernaut at you. You know that you're okay. Let's turn it up again.
And they've only got a few minutes left, but can everyone jump out and jump back in? Sorry, I know it's only a few minutes left.
Yeah.
All right.